Hee-haw! Arriba, arriba, andale arriba! Hola, amigos. You must be wondering why I'm dressed like this today. Well, it is to celebrate a Mexican festival, the Day of the Dead. Well, not if you're celebrating the Day of the Dead. Why? To know that, let's zoom in. Latin Americans and majorly Mexicans celebrate the Day of the Dead or Dia de los Muertos on the 1st and 2nd of November to remember loved ones who have passed away and honor their memories. The idea behind this feast is that starting at midnight on October 31st, the world of the living and the dead become one, and the souls of our ancestors wake up and celebrate life with the living. During this fest, people remember their ancestors by setting up a candle-lit decorated altar in their homes so spirits can find their way back to their families, and by offering some of the favorite food of the departed ones along with items like a favorite book, toys, or musical instrument that were important to them when they were alive. At the same time, on the streets, you'll see people dressed as skeletons and faces painted like skull, mimicking the Calavera Catrina. Not only that, even streets are decorated with life-sized papier-mâché skeletons and miniature plastic or clay skeletons. This is done not just to honor the ancestors, but also to remind themselves that death is just a part of life. Then later, everyone visits the cemetery for a big bash party. Over there, families bring a huge feast to eat as they clean tombs, sing songs, talk to their ancestors, and even introduce kids to their grandparents who were gone long ago. But the most vital question is, how did it all begin? Well, it all began thousands of years ago when the native Mexicans believed that the spirits of their dead relatives returned to Earth once a year to visit them. And according to them, mourning the dead was disrespectful, so they began to celebrate it. Later in the 1500s, when the Spanish invaders arrived in Mexico, they brought their religious festivals called All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day, which were celebrated on November 1st and 2nd. And as these festivals also remember people who have died, the Spanish therefore merged the native festival with theirs. And since then, this colorful festival of death is still practiced every year. And thanks to the recognition by UNESCO and the global sharing of information, the Day of the Dead is more popular than ever before. Do you know which other festival is more popular these days? It's none other than Diwali, the festival of light and victory of good over evil. Trivia time! Did you know monarch butterflies play a role during the Day of the Dead because they are believed to hold the spirits of the departed? Yes, this belief originates from the fact that the first monarchs arrived in Mexico for the winter each fall of November 1st, which coincides with this fest. Hope you learned something new today. Until next time, it's me, Dr. Binocs, zooming out. So, tell me, little kitty, do you still find the dead people scary? Never mind. Oh, It seems like you are inventing a formula, little kitty. May I know what it is?
For immortality.
Oh my goodness me! I hope you are aware of its consequences, right?
Yes?
Well, you will after hearing the results of your experiment. Hey friends, so in today's episode, let us see what will happen if Kitty succeeds in her quest for immortality and nobody ever dies. Zoom in. Death. Nobody has managed to escape its grip so far. Even the giants like Titanoboa, Megalodon, and dinosaurs succumb to it. And as children, we are taught that one day we'll have to leave Neverland, grow old, and eventually pass on. But still, inside most of us, there is always a lingering feeling of living happily ever after. And strangely enough, humans have managed to cheat death. Not entirely, but surely to some extent. Yes, with the advancements in healthcare facilities, improvement in the standard of living, and better safety measures, the average life expectancy around the world in the last 2 centuries has increased from less than 30 years to over 72 years. And according to research, it can be extended even further in the coming times, which makes us believe that we could even achieve immortality at some point in time. So, let us see what will happen if everyone around us will live forever. Well, in that case, the first thing to tackle will be the ever-growing population. Yes, as no one is departing and babies continue to be born, soon it will become a big issue, leading to scarcity of food and other resources. And as it will be next to impossible to meet the growing demand, there will be an increase in conflict amongst us. Not only that, to provide shelter for so many of us, deforestation will increase, leading to the extinction of many animals. Because of this, most of us have difficulty remembering what we did last summer, or even what we had today for breakfast. So, how are we supposed to remember what we did 400 years ago, or even 1,000? The next big hurdle with living forever will be evolution. As we know, according to Darwin's theory of evolution, years ago, humans looked way different from what we are today. This means that even the future generation will look entirely different. So, fitting in will become a challenge and you could look like an odd one. On the good side, we could stay with our loved ones for a longer time. But, unfortunately, life will be very painful. Yes, as immortality doesn't guarantee invincibility, so we won't be safe against sickness and injuries that could permanently damage our bodies. And as there are around 185,000 amputation-related cases observed every year in the US alone, this means in another million years, the chances of many of us having our limbs intact are pretty low. And with no guarantee that our body parts like eyes, ears, and even teeth will continue to function correctly, we might end up looking like walking zombies. Trivia time! Did you know, to date, there are only one species that has been called biologically immortal, and that is the jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii. Yes, an adult transforms itself through transdifferentiation, meaning converting one type of cell into another, turning them back into a juvenile form. Hope you learned something immortally important today. Until next time, it's me, Dr. Binocs, zooming out. Never mind.
Whoa! Huh? Phew.
Thank goodness, it was just a bad dream.
What happened?
Well, I saw a nightmare in which the alien robots attacked the Earth and wiped out human existence.
Oh, then what?
Then, well, let's discuss that in detail with our lovely audience. Hey friends, so in today's episode, let us explore this undesired situation and answer a hypothetical existential question. What would happen if every human suddenly disappeared? Zoom in. Well, if humans went extinct, the first thing to go for a toss will be the power plants and drainage system, as there won't be anyone to run and maintain them. So, within hours of our disappearance, the subways of huge sprawling cities like London and New York would flood. And on the other hand, electricity all over the world will begin to shut down, causing a partial blackout. The only source of light will be the flames blazing from the malfunctioned oil refineries, burning for weeks and even months. With no firefighters to put the fire down, it would spread across the surrounding region and might end up harming domestic animals, breaking out as there will be no more electric fences to control them. And once the burning factories extinguish, the earth will go dark again after many centuries. After the first chaotic month, changes will occur slowly, and by the next 20 years or so, the streets will be engulfed in weeds and torn apart by tree roots. At the same time, the water from the flooded tunnels and subways will rise up on the roads, eroding and turning them into rivers. And changing climate like winter and summer will freeze and melt these waterways, causing cracks in roads and buildings that will shatter their foundation as they will begin to decay. And within 200 years, most concrete structures will completely collapse and wash away in running water. Comparatively, houses in villages will decay more slowly, but eventually they will be infested by rodents, bugs, lizards and other unwanted guests. And within the next 70 years, the supporting pillars and foundations of these houses will be rotted, collapsing and turning into rubble. On the other hand, cities will be covered with wild and poisonous plants like ivy and hogweeds. Meanwhile, as the drowned concrete will mix with waterways, it will increase its acidity, allowing new plants to grow and thrive. Not only that, the impact of human extinction will reach the animal kingdom too. Many wild animals will enter our blighted cities with the help of leftover passages and bridges. Insects like cockroaches have been here since the dinosaur era and will continue to thrive But their urban cousins won't survive the post-human world more than 2 winters due to lack of a heating system. However, due to the increase in trees and animals, the Earth's climate will start to recover from the damages caused by human activities, and it may take another 65,000 years for carbon dioxide to return to pre-human levels. And it won't be wrong to say that without humans, our planet would ultimately be fine and thrive. Trivia time! Did you know 50% of the planet's landmass has been transformed for human use? Also, worldwide, 12% of mammals are threatened with extinction. Hope you learned something new today. Until next time, it's me, Dr. Binocs, zooming out. Never mind.
Kitty's scared.
I understand, little kitty. After all, a cemetery is where all the dead bodies are kept as they begin their decomposition process.
How?
Well, that's a spooky question. But let's look at it from the perspective of science and allow me to explain to you and our lovely friends what happens to our body after we die. Zoom in. Death is inevitable, and so far, nobody has managed to escape this natural process since the dawn of humanity. Yes, although the thought of death frightens everyone, but what happens to our body after is really fascinating to know. Once a person stops breathing, his heartbeat stops and his brain dies. The doctor declares the person dead, and the body immediately begins the decomposition process. As soon as the person dies, the body begins the first stage of decomposition called primary flaccidity, in which the person's muscles relax as the jaws fall open while the eyelids lose the tension and close down. At the same time, the body starts to lose heat as its temperature lowers down to match with the area around it, in the process with a spooky name known as the death chill. Then within minutes after death, the blood flow stops and it begins to settle in the lowermost part of the body. And after a few hours, we begin to see the first visible sign as the skin in those areas starts to turn purplish in the stage called livor mortis or post-mortem stain. After that, within 3 to 6 hours, the once relaxed body starts to contract in the process called rigor mortis, and this stiffening spreads through the muscles, and its speed depends upon the person's age, gender, and environment. But this contraction lasts only till 20 to 84 hours, after which the body again goes back to relaxed mode in the stage called secondary flaccidity. After this begins the decomposition process. But what happens to the body next depends on many factors, one of which is the environment in which the body is stored. Yes, for example, let us assume 3 different bodies with similar characteristics and factors are stored in different environment. In that case, the one exposed to air will decompose twice as fast as the one immersed in water and 8 times as fast as one buried in mud. But no matter what the outer condition is,
the internal aspects tend to remain the same. As the body could no longer intake oxygen or clear the toxic gases like carbon dioxide, which continues to build up inside the cells and is very acidic. This acid ruptures cell's sac, which contains enzymes that begin to eat the cell from inside out, creating fluid-filled blisters on the body. And as this fluid is rich in nutrients, it attracts the microorganisms like fungi and bacteria already present in our body. And as there is no immune system to fight these inner germs, they go on an eating spree and in the process releases nearly 400 different types of chemicals and gases. The smell of these gases attracts various insects that feed and break down the tissues until only the skeleton is left, which with time also decomposes into the mud.
Trivia time!
Did you know when a person dies, their sense of hearing is the last to go? Also, lack of physical exercise is one of the leading causes of preventable deaths worldwide. So, it's crucial to stay away from cell phones to play and exercise if you want to live longer. Hope you learned something new in today's episode. Until next time, it's me, Dr. Binocs, zooming out.
Oh, what happened, little kitty? Why so scared? Well, are you sure it is a real ghost? In that case, let us see what science has to say about these paranormal entities and answer a spooky, creepy question. Are ghosts real? Zoom in! Every year as Halloween approaches, the question of ghost existence slowly creeps its way out like a dead body walking out of its grave in a horror film. These filmy ghosts can be as friendly as Casper or as menacing as Annabelle. And if you think many of these stories are based on actual events, then you aren't alone, as many cultures since the dawn of humanity have believed in spirits that survive death and live amongst us until their desires are fulfilled. And it is because of this core belief in ghosts' existence that people have tried to communicate with spirits since ancient times through various mediums like Ouija boards, crystal balls, and whatnot. Even in modern times, you'll find ghost hunting groups using high-tech technology to debunk this mystery. Typical equipment might include Geiger counters, electromagnetic field detectors, infrared cameras, and super-sensitive microphones. Most of these gadgets are used to detect any unexplained light, radiation, or noise in the environment where a potential ghost could be present. But the vital question is, what does science say about ghosts? Do experts approve of the evidence given by Ghostbusters? Well, the answer is nope. Despite the use of such high-tech gear, there are still no scientifically verified cases of ghost detection. All the videos floating around the internet turn out to be either staged or misinterpreted. I know what you are thinking. Then, what about the personal ghostly experiences you hear from people around you? Well, according to science, you can't always trust your eyes, ears, or brain, as they might be playing tricks on you. Yes, that is because your brain has a tough job of taking the tons of information coming from your five senses and working to make sense of this mess. And though our brain is good at understanding this task, however, it is so obsessed with it that it starts to find meaning even in meaningless things like seeing faces in unusual patterns or other figures in clouds. This phenomena is known as pareidolia. Not only that, I'm sure at times you felt your phone ring just to find no call or notification. Or a time you heard someone calling your name when no one was there. Such events are nothing but hallucinations, a false perception of sensory experiences. Some hallucinations can be normal, like hearing a phone ring, but more vivid ones, like often seeing ghostly creatures or deceased loved ones, may be a sign of a serious disorder. Another less worrying condition in which someone can hear or feel figures or creatures that aren't real is called sleep paralysis, which happens when the brain messes up the process of falling asleep or waking. So in conclusion, according to science, ghosts do not exist and are a result of experiences such as sleep paralysis, hallucinations, or pareidolia. But what do you think? Ghosts really don't exist, or we simply do not have the technology to detect them? Trivia time! Did you know a poll found that 46% of Americans say that they truly believe in ghosts? Also, the word ghost comes from an Old English word gust, which means spirit or soul. Hope you learned something new today. Until next time, it's me, Dr. Binocs, zooming out. Phew, never mind.